Buying a home doesn't start with house hunting. And if that's where you start, you're already behind. Most buyers focus on the house, when what really actually determines whether you win, overpay, or lose the home altogether is the process behind it. And I see this happen all the time. Hi, I'm Tina Veltri, and I help people buy, build, sell, and relocate. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through how buying a home really works, step by step, so that you can make confident decisions from the very beginning. Buying a home can feel overwhelming because there are a lot of moving pieces to this. There's timelines that have to be, met. There's lenders, contracts, inspections, and appraisals. But when you understand the process ahead of time and the timelines, that fear goes away. So this video isn't about rushing you into buying. It's about helping you to plan correctly so that when you're ready, you're in control. Buyers need to get clear and commit to a plan before anything else. And this is where I see buyers making their very first mistake. And I've walked through many buyers during this process. Buyers think that the right strategy is to look at everything, every listing, every open house, because they're afraid that they're going to miss something. But looking at everything actually is the fastest way to get confused. When you see homes that truly don't fit what you want, it muddies your decision making. You start second guessing yourself. You start thinking suddenly maybe nothing feels right or every home feels right. So the goal is not to see every home. The goal is to define what matters before you start looking and then stick to it. And that starts with identifying your non-negotiables. What is it you want, definitely, in your home? And for some buyers, that could be a specific location. It could be a layout, a price range, or something very specific like a garden tub in the primary bedroom. And if that feature matters to you, then we don't look at homes without it, period. Because seeing homes that don't meet your must-haves doesn't expand your options. It just creates confusion. And when we look at homes, we're not just browsing, we're evaluating. For every home, there's a simple question. Would you make an offer on this home right now? And the answer is always going to be what? Yes, no, or maybe. And if it's a no, we cross that home off and we move on. If it's a maybe, we kind of tuck that one away and we can look at it later. And we also look at what is that home missing? And if it's a yes, then that's when we slow down and get strategic. Every home is measured against the plan, not against random listings. And this approach keeps buyers focused, confident, and decisive. And it prevents wasted time and emotional burnout. The next thing I always tell buyers is work with a trusted local lender and get a pre-approval. This step is crucial and it's often very misunderstood. Before you make an offer, you're going to need to work with a trusted local lender. And believe me, that holds a lot of weight. And you need to get pre-approved, not pre-qualified. And there's a big difference. A pre-qualification is usually just a quick estimate based on unverified information. A pre-approval means your documents have been reviewed, your credit's been checked, and a lender has verified that you're actually able to move forward with the loan. And that difference really matters, especially when your offer is presented to a seller. A good listing agent will contact that lender on your pre-approval letter to confirm exactly, is it a pre-qual or is it a pre-approval? And your buyer's agent will be in constant contact with the lender throughout the entire process for that very same reason, and to make sure the loan is going through the process as it should. And not all lenders are the same. This is where buyers often get distracted by interest rates. Any lender can tell you any rate that you want to hear. Believe me, I'm not a lender, but I work with a lot and I know. But there's so much more that goes into a loan than a number on a screen. When rates get locked, how it's structured, what conditions are attached, and how underwriting is handled, they all matter. That's the lender's job, to walk you through those details so that there's no surprises later. And working with a local lender who is responsive, trusted, and experienced makes a huge difference once you're under contract. And it also holds a lot of weight with sellers' agents and sellers, especially when timelines, appraisals, and communication are of the utmost importance. So this isn't about numbers. It's about setting the foundation for a smooth transaction. And soon I'll be doing a video where I'm going to be sitting down with a local lender who can answer all the questions that buyers are always asking. The next thing to do is execute the plan and don't deviate from it. At this point, your plan is set. You've already defined what matters to you. You know your must-haves, and you've completed your pre-approval process. Now the goal is execution, not reopening every decision that you've already made. And this is where buyers often get pulled off track. A new listing pops up, a friend sends a link for a home, something looks interesting online. But if a home doesn't meet your criteria that you've already established, we don't look at it. That's not being rigid. It's truly being strategic. Each showing has a purpose. We're evaluating against the plan, not reacting to outside noise. And this keeps the process focused, efficient, and emotionally steady. And it truly does prevent decision fatigue and helps you make clear decisions. When you're ready to move forward, this is where strategy becomes critical. An offer is not just a price. It includes timing, terms, and contingencies, and earnest money deposit, sometimes called your escrow deposit. Once an offer is accepted, the buyer submits the earnest money deposit to the title company. And this shows the seller that the buyer is serious about moving forward. And there's a timetable for this money to be deposited. Now, in a market with multiple offers, the amount of escrow can truly matter. A large earnest money deposit can signal strength and commitment. And in a competitive situation, it can help a seller feel more confident choosing one offer over another, even when the prices are similar or different. And this is where your agent helps you understand the market, evaluate your risk, and decide what makes sense for your particular situation, not just what looks aggressive on paper. Before anything is submitted, the goal is clarity. Does the price make sense? Do the terms protect you as the buyer? And does this offer align with your overall plan? Once an offer is signed and submitted, it becomes a binding contract if the seller accepts. So this step is all about getting it right before that offer ever goes in. Once you're under contract, the inspection period begins. Now, this is one of the most important and one of the most emotional phases of the entire process. During the inspection period, a licensed inspector evaluates the property, looking at major systems, the roof, structure, safety issues, and the overall condition of the home. The inspection is about identifying material issues and us deciding how or whether to move forward. This is also the first major contingency in the contract, and that matters because during the inspection period, the buyer still has control. And if issues come up that you're not comfortable with, you typically have options. Request repairs, request credits, renegotiate terms, or you can cancel the contract completely. As long as this action is taken during the inspection contingency period, the buyer can walk away and receive their earnest money deposit back. Now, your agent coordinates scheduling the inspection, reviewing the results with you, prioritizing material issues versus cosmetic items, and communicating next steps with the seller. This step is about informed decisions, not pressure. After inspections, the transaction moves into the loan contingency period. This is where the lender completes underwriting and issues final loan approval. Now, even though you may already be pre-approved, the lender still needs to verify more documents, confirm employment assets, and confirm that you are still employed. Remember, do not quit your job when you are purchasing a home. And make sure the loan meets all the guidelines. I should also say, your lender will tell you, do not make huge purchases during the time you are under contract for a home. And your lender, of course, will explain all of that. Now, the loan contingency exists to protect the buyer if the loan cannot be approved for reasons outside of their control. So during this phase, your agent stays in close contact with the lender to track the timelines, confirm conditions are being cleared, and keep everything moving forward. Now, as part of the loan process, the lender orders an appraisal. The appraisal is an independent opinion of value completed by a licensed appraiser to confirm that the home you're purchasing is worth the agreed upon sales price. The lender will not lend more than that home is worth, even if a buyer is willing to pay more. And this is where an appraisal contingency becomes crucial. If the home does not appraise at value and the contract includes an appraisal contingency, the buyer has some options. Renegotiate the price, bring in additional funds above the loan, so cash if they choose, or they can walk away without losing their escrow deposit. If a contract does not include an appraisal contingency, a buyer may be required to move forward anyway, even if the home appraises low or risk losing their escrow deposit. Now, your agent helps you review the appraisal, understands the options, and decides what makes sense for you moving forward. Now, once the appraisal is received and all the loan conditions are satisfied, the file moves into final underwriting. When the lender has reviewed the appraisal, verified income, assets, title, insurance, that you still have a job, remember, the loan is issued a clear to close. Now, I bring that up because I honestly have had a contract go all the way through till the day before closing. The buyer quit their job, and guess what? The whole contract fell apart. Now, clear to close is probably the most favorite words of a buyer, a seller, a listing agent, and a buyer's agent. And this is the moment that everybody's waiting for. It means that the lender is officially ready to fund the loan and move forward with your closing. And from here, the focus shifts to final numbers, final signatures, and closing day. Now, while all this is going on, title work is also happening behind the scenes. It ensures the seller has the legal right to sell the home they're selling, that there's no liens or ownership issues, and that the home can transfer to the new buyer cleanly. This is also when final numbers are verified and closing documents are prepared. So title and lender work hand in hand at this process to get us to the closing table. Now, once documents are signed and funds are finalized, you close. Your first mortgage payment typically doesn't start for about 2 months after closing. Title lets you know, depending on your timing. And that's it. Congratulations, you are a homeowner. Buying a home doesn't have to feel confusing or rushed. When you plan ahead, understand the steps, and work with the right people, the process becomes manageable and empowering. So if you're thinking about buying now or in the future and you want clarity of what makes sense in your situation, I'm always happy to help you think through your next steps. I'm Tina Veltri. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you on the next video.